Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Kathy, and this is Living on Slow Time. I cook in my camper kitchen, and I'm just here to show you that you can make anything in a camper kitchen that you can make in your home. Today, it's going to be one of my favorite fall treats. Could be breakfast if you decide to make it into muffins, or it could just be a treat. You could even frost it up and make it like a cake. This is going to be pumpkin muffins or pumpkin bread. Whichever way you want to do it, could call it pumpkin cake. Just depends on how you want to serve it. Because a recipe, really, I say it all the time, is just a baseline for you. Make it how you want to, what works for you and your family. Let's get started. I've turned my oven on to 350 over here. And so we're going to start out with a can of pumpkin. And this is just pureed pumpkin. There is no seasoning. It is not the pumpkin pie filling, just the pumpkin itself. We're going to put our own seasonings in this. One can is about 2 cups of pumpkin. So if you do happen to have made your own pumpkin, then that's fine as well. So we're just going to put that right down in here. You can see it's just 100% pure pumpkin. We'll go ahead and stick that in there to keep the counter clean. How's that? And then we're just going to mix all of our wet ingredients all up in here. I'm going to go ahead and just set these eggs to the side right here. Ooh, about to have a runaway. And I'm just going to break these right off into my little ramekin just to make sure I don't get any shells in there. And we're just going to pour those in with our pumpkin. And one more. All right, so we've got 4 eggs down in there with that pumpkin. And we'll set this in the sink. Clean up a little mess here, just to keep things a little tidy. Wipe my fingers and off we go. So I like to go ahead and mix my eggs in with the pumpkin just to go ahead and have those wet ingredients start getting mixed together good. And that way, as we start adding the rest of them, then it's just all mixing in there. So we've got that. And believe it or not, sugar is considered a wet ingredient. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our sugar in. Now the recipe that I usually follow calls for 2 cups. I go actually a little bit shy with about 1 3/4, just to cut down on that sweetness a little bit, because we are going to put some chocolate chips in there as well. We'll set that to the side. Then we're going to have 3/4 of a cup of a neutral oil. You can use vegetable oil if you want. I'm using avocado oil just because that's the oil that I have here. But just use whatever is your favorite neutral oil. And that needs to go on my grocery list. And put that oil right in there. Set this over here. All right. So we're just going to give this a nice little whisk just to combine all of those wet ingredients in there. Just to get it mixed up really good. And then we're going to start adding our dry ingredients. All right, that looks good to me. So we're going to do 2 cups of flour. I like to spoon my flour into my measuring cup. Now I did come in here and already kind of fluffed it before I even started. I guess I could pull this over. I had fluffed it before I started just to aerate it, because you don't want to compact your flour when you're baking. And another little trick is to use a knife just to kind of bring it across and level out your flour. That's where most people, whenever you're baking, kind of makes a mistake, is they tend to put too much flour in there, and that's because they're just kind of reaching in and scooping in there. And you just want to kind of have it a little aerated and right in. I'll just set that back. So we've got our flour in there, and then we're going to add in our baking powder. Just going to put a teaspoon of baking powder in there on top. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Now baking soda does come with a little ridge here so that you can scrape off and do even on that, which is very nice. 2 teaspoons there, teaspoon of salt. I like to go a little shy just because I don't use a lot of salt. And now I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. Sometimes I make it with just cinnamon if I'm making it because I have a little craving during the summertime or something. But remember we made our pumpkin pie spice whenever we made our creamers? I'm going to use the pumpkin pie spice. And I'm going to put a teaspoon, just a touch more, maybe an extra 1/8 of a teaspoon there. And then, that's a little big to fit that. So we're just going to tap out just a little bit, maybe about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, just for that extra spice there. Now, before I mix this all in, I am going to just kind of mix together those dry ingredients a little bit on top. And then we're just going to come in here and just start mixing. And we're just going to mix this till it's all combined well. We don't want to over mix it. We want this to be nice and light and fluffy. This is really kind of a quick bread because it is made with the baking powder and baking soda. So it does rise really nicely and gets nice and fluffy. But we just want to mix all those dry ingredients in well. And once we don't have any more dry ingredients, we are going to be good to go. Into the sink with that. And let's just grab that rubber spatula and just come right around. And it looks like it's all mixed in really good here. So now all we have to do is add in our chocolate chips. It's about 1 cup of chocolate chips that I'll put in here. Whoops, made a mess. There we go. I need more chocolate chips on my list too. That one up. Can't have that man go overboard and just stay on the counter. The counter was clean. I cleaned it before I started. All right. We're just going to fold these chocolate chips in there. And let's get our pan and get that prepared. To prepare our baking pan, now I'm using a 9x13 pan here. You could make, depending on the size of your muffin tin, you could make anywhere between 12 to 18 muffins with this as well. So if you wanted to have that as a quick breakfast that's just got the little paper with it, or make it in your silicone trays, or I like just to kind of put it into a cake pan. And then that way I just cut it up into squares and it travels very easily. And we're just going to pour this right in. Nothing fancy, but very tasty. And your house smells absolutely divine whenever it's baking. Because you've got the pumpkin pie spice, it's got those cloves in it, and cinnamon and ginger. If you want that recipe, you can check out the video on our coffee creamers and fall decorating. I think I titled it, Are You Ready for Fall? And that's got in there has the pumpkin pie spice mix that you can make at home. I usually have all the ingredients on hand, and then that way I don't have to buy the $5 little bitty container each year. I just mix it up at the beginning of the season and go with it. All right. So then into the oven we go. Now that will bake about 35 to 40 minutes, depends on your oven. If you're doing it as muffins, they'll be ready probably in about 15 to 20 minutes. You just want to insert a toothpick in there to make sure that that comes out clean, and you'll know that you're ready to go. We'll be back when this is done baking. All right, let's get this out of here. Let all of this off. Look at that. Does that not look delicious? Nice, soft cake, bread, muffins, depending on how you want to shape it. So we're going to go ahead and let this cool just a little bit, and then we're going to give it a cut and we're going to give it a try. All right, so this has been cooling just a little bit now. As you can see, it's nice and fluffy. Go ahead and we'll do it like this. You can see how fluffy and soft that is. It's going to be absolutely delicious. The house smells amazing. All right, it smells like fall. We're just going to give a quick little cut down through here. And usually I can get a good 16 pieces out of this, depending on how big you want to make your pieces. Just give that a little cut. Let's see how this comes out. Usually the first ones aren't so swift, especially on a bread that's soft like that. Oh, but look at that. Look how delicious. Ooh, it's still steaming. Got that nice soft bread, cake, muffin. You've got those chocolate chips down there. They do tend to settle to the bottom just a little bit. We're going to give this a try. Oh, that looks absolutely amazing. I'm excited. Can you tell? I'm excited. All right. Nice little bite. Blow it off just a little bit because it's still pretty warm. But the flavors on this, I can tell you that the flavors, once it has cooled completely, the flavors are even better. Now, Frank, who's sitting over here working on a puzzle, he likes to put it in the refrigerator. And so then that way it's nice and cold whenever he eats it. Now, if you decide to make this into like a cake, you could put a cream cheese frosting on top. That would be absolutely delicious. You could even leave the chocolate chips out if you want. Use the miniature chocolate chips. Make it you. Let's give it a try. It's beyond words. Absolutely delicious. The word nobody likes to hear, it's moist, it's soft, it's flavorful, warm, cozy. A nice piece of the pumpkin bread with a cup of coffee in the morning or a cup of tea. Can't get any better than that for a breakfast, y'all. I'm just going to go finish this now and hope you guys decide to make the bread. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you join us when we put new videos out. Just simple, good home cooking meals. Might throw in some RV related items for you as well, but I can tell you you're going to love this pumpkin bread. Till next time, bye y'all.